Hey guys, welcome to another class. Title of the class, To the Horizon and Beyond. Right practice 03. The story today is from Japan, land of the samurai. Gendun-san was 29, wealthy, and deeply disillusioned with life. So he went up to a remote monastery and asked the Zen master, the abbot of the place, "Sir, I know that the way to awakening is the only option available to be free from all sorrow. I respect Zazen. I respect Zazen practice, meditation. However, I do not have the resolve to sit for long hours of practice because I've never really had that kind of discipline in my life. I may give up. So, is there any hope for someone like me? I want to practice, but I don't have that resolve to really go for it." And the abbot looked at him and said, "Yes, young man, there is hope. But first tell me a little about you. What have you done with your life so far?" And Genun-san tells him, "Well, I come from a wealthy family and I have never had to work. I've just been marinating in pleasures of all kinds, but found no fulfillment anywhere so far, none. So now I want to give Zazen, give some meditation practice a shot. Actually, there is one thing that does fulfill me, and that is chess. It brings out the best in me. Chess. I love chess." So the abbot says, "Oh, is that right? Okay." So he summons his assistant and tells him, "Call Daiju-san, please, and ask him to bring the chessboard." So Daiju-san comes along with the chessboard. And the abbot, after the chessboard is there, and Daiju-san is there, they're all sitting over there, he asks his attendant, "Please now bring me my samurai sword." Samurai. He explains the rules of the game. "Both of you are good in chess," he says to both of them. "Now, Daiju-san, you have vowed obedience to me as your teacher, and I require it from you today. If you lose this game, I will lop off your head with this sword. But I can promise you that you will be reborn in a beautiful place before you return to the planet to continue with your practice. Before that, you can have a little vacation in heaven, Hawaii." Okay? And you, Genu-san, you have been good in chess. And if you lose the game today, same rule applies. Your head will be separated from your body. Yeah? You deserve to die. Worthless life you've lived anyway. However, I cannot promise that when your head is off your body, that you'll be reborn in a good place. I can't promise you that, because you've lived a wasted life. So, are you both agreeable to the rules? Gruesome rules, but both agreed. If you were there, if you were Gendun-san, would you say yes? Or would you be saying, "Excuse me for a minute," then scamper off? Well, Brother Gendun didn't do that. He sat there. And the game began. With sweat trickling down his back, Gendun was playing for his life. The young monk was really good at the game and was gaining advantage in the game. Then Gendun, knowing that he's playing for his life, he awoke his genie and he did a counter move and got the better of the game. And it was a tie. One move after the next move. Finally, the monk made a false move and his game started to crumble. Yeah, he was on a losing streak. Gendun then looked up covertly at the monk while he was playing, and he saw this intelligent, sincere face, radiant with years of austerity and effort. And then he thought of his own life, totally worthless, and he felt this deep compassion for the monk. And so he made a false move so that the monk would get the better of him and win the game. And he made another false move. Yeah. The abbot all the time was sitting right there with his sword, watching like a hawk. When he saw what was going on, he just upset the board. The pieces went flying all over the place. And he said to both of them, who were shocked, "Whoa, what happened?" Today, there are going to be no winners and losers. And there will not be any beheading either. No chopping off the head. No. Then he turned to Gendun and said, "Gendun-san, out of the many requirements for awakening, you have shown me today that you've gained mastery in 4. Mastery, I'm deeply impressed. Intense effort with focused effort, mastery, compassion, non-attachment, and faith. Yeah? With that intense focus, you were gaining the upper hand in the practice, in the game. And within that focus, you also were able to feel this deep compassion for this monk, Daichu-san. And you were willing to sacrifice your life for his. Why? Because of your non-attachment towards either living or dying. Totally indifferent, non-attachment. Besides this, you had total faith in me. You don't even know me. And yet, you agreed to the rules of the game. Yeah? Total faith. Whatever I decided was good for you. Such faith is not easy for most people. But such faith as you have demonstrates the fact that you are willing to accept whatever life gifts you with, presents you with. Now, if you stay here in this monastery and practice with these 4 virtues, I can promise you that it won't be long before your first insight. Gendun-san decided, let's give it a shot. Stayed, practiced diligently, and within 6 months, his mind opened into the true nature of reality. Then, again it opened. Yeah? Insights after insights started pouring in with his intense focus, compassion for the world, that he had to wake up, not only for his benefit, but for the benefit of the masses. Yeah? Non-attachment to results. Non-attachment and total faith in life's benevolence, trust in its natural laws and processes. Great story. The moral, when we truly realize that our destiny is in our hands, is not related to people and circumstances. It's in our hands. When we finally, truly realize that our destiny is in our hands, we see the imperative need for personal refinement. Because it is only through personal refinement that we can flourish in every area of our lives. Not otherwise. Yeah? Hey. Okay. This is the last class in a series of 40 classes. The next series will begin on 2nd November. Stay tuned. 40 classes. And this class, I will be talking about the 3 most important points that I have been repeating again and again in these 40 classes. I don't know if it has registered, but to make sure that it does register, we will look at these 3 very indispensable points for right practice. Okay? Yeah. Now, what do you think they could be? 3 gigantically important points. First one, we need to adore God, life, universal forces, whichever way you want to term this mystical dimension that has given birth to the cosmos. Yeah? We need to love God with all our heart, all our mind, strength, and spirit, with our entire being, because it is the only way for us to flourish in this world, to bloom into our finest. There is no other way. Apart from loving life in its entire, having this deep, cherishing relationship with life, there's no moving forward. Because God, or universal forces, they are the source of our supply. Without the breathing that happens every day, this invisible force, oxygen, where would you be? That's just one part of it. Food, clothing, shelter, medicine, it's all God. Yeah? Source of our supply and the source of our being. We need to establish a deep and loving bond with this force. If we're not in a deeply loving bond with this force, it's like having a mobile and being out of range of reception. That mobile is useless. No reception. Useless. If we're not really in deep contact with this divinity, this force, we're out of range for experiencing all that is best in the world. Out of range. Not a good idea. Not good. So let us look at some reasons why it is so very important to think, feel, speak, and do everything in relationship to this constant remembrance of the force that is the source of our supply and the source of our being. Okay? Whatever we place our attention upon repeatedly, yeah, whatever we place our attention upon repeatedly not only determines what we see, but also what we become. Yeah, we see and we become whatever we aim at consistently, repeatedly, while everything else, the reality, the rest of reality, remains hidden from us. We see only what we focus upon. The rest, totally hidden from our gaze. Any ideas what I'm talking about? When it comes to being healthy, what do most people equate with health? I want to be healthy. Medical intervention. If you're not healthy, medical intervention, pop some pills, go for surgery. Exercise, diet and nutrition, supplements. Yeah, healthy. This is what health equates with. So when our focus on when our focus is placed on these narrow perspectives, yeah, medical intervention, exercise, diet, supplements, sunshine, then what's really important remains hidden from us. Can't see it. We can't see the fact that ill health is a symptom of a mind that is not at peace with itself and the world around it. Yeah? A little bit wonky mind. Cause. Illness is the effect. Constantly trying to change the effect while nurturing the cause. Totally unskillful. Yeah? Health begins here, not the medical intervention, not exercise and nutrition. It's important, yes. But unless this is fixed, the symptoms will constantly reappear in different forms. But that is hidden from most people's gaze. Here's another example. What do you see and become when you place your love and your attention on someone who does not reciprocate your feelings or your consideration for their well-being? Yeah? What you see and become. You see indifference. You see disrespect, abuse, and so on. Would you become bitter, unhappy, ill, resentful, angry, and so on? Yeah? Whatever we place our attention upon repeatedly not only determines what we see, but also what we become. Place your love and attention where it is not reciprocated, and you're asking for suffering. When we place our love and attention on things of the world that are fleeting, not stable, constantly changing, what happens? Difficulties happen, suffering happens. We need to place our time, attention, energy, time, entire being on that which is timeless, doesn't change, constantly reciprocates. You put in love into the universal matrix and it will come back to you in amplified form. There's no two ways about it. This is the law. Put your love and attention where in this world on someone or something that cannot reciprocate, and you're asking for trouble, huge trouble. In the Bible, Jesus is constantly portrayed as being the purveyor, the distributor of endless sustenance and amazing miracles. He raised the dead, cured the incurable, multiplied bread and fish to feed the masses, turned water into wine, yum yum. Yeah? How did he achieve this ability to be the grand master of miracles? How did he do that? Jesus. Well, by identifying himself with his heavenly Father. Not with Joseph and Mary, Heavenly Father. John 10:30, 30. Jesus says, I and my Father are one, inseparable. That's the way he identifies with his Father. It's inseparable. Whatever we place our attention upon repeatedly, we become. When we are dedicating our lives in service to God, in all that we think, feel, say, or do, we become godlike and are in the position to weave miracles. Understand this power of focus. Understand this power of vision and direction that I spoke about in the last class. Do you know the difference between a steel rod that is magnetized and one that is not? What's the difference? There's no difference in substance. The only difference is in the arrangement and the order of its electrons. Yep, that's the only difference. When it is magnetized, the arrangement and order of the electrons is such that they face in one direction. And by all congruent facing just in one direction, they acquire the power to attract only that which is in resonance with their frequency. That's what a magnet is. It will not attract cotton or grass or wood. Only that which is in resonance with its frequency and repel everything else. Nothing else comes near it. Yeah? When it is demagnetized, the electrons are moving in all directions. There's no unity in them. Demagnetized state. Magnetized state, all the electrons lined up in one direction. Clear? Okay. What does that have to do with us? Wow. You know what a compass is? Compass, yes, pointing true north. Magnetic field of the earth pointing true north. Yeah? But a compass does go a little wonky at times for various reasons. It stops pointing true north, it points to the wrong directions. And then if you're heading somewhere and you have a compass which is not well calibrated, you end up in the bush somewhere. Okay? Hi. We need to set our compass to point true north. When it is pointing true north, when we're aligned like a magnet to true north, then we attract and are attracted to that which allows us to flourish in the world. Yeah? The right principles, the right laws. We're in tune with those laws. We're not interested in drugs and smoking and alcohol and gambling and all kinds of bad habits. It doesn't even come in our radar. But if our compass is not well set, not well calibrated, we believe we're going true north. Happiness, want happiness, but it is pointing towards the ditch. Then you're asking for trouble. Why? Because when the compass is not well pointed in the right place, then we will attract and be attracted to all forms of wrongdoing. And wrongdoing, yes, my friends, it equates with head-on collision with disaster. Head-on, high velocity. You want that? No, you don't want it. Suffering. Clear? A steel rod, when it is magnetized, points only towards those realities that are in sync with it. A compass, when it is pointing in the right direction, guides us to where real happiness can be. When our inner compass, yeah? When we tune with the right principles and laws that operate in the world, we align ourselves with those laws and principles, we will flourish by default. When our compass is not pointing correctly, we will attract and be attracted to wrongdoing in its countless forms. And that wrongdoing leads to rebirth after rebirth of misery, grief, regret, remorse, and suffering. Wake up. So to see, let's do a reality check, shall we? Reality check. Let's see if your compass is pointing in the right direction, shall we? Come on, let's do that. Tell me. Yes, I can read your thoughts. Just tell me. How often do you desire that which is better for you instead of wanting your life to be better? How often do you desire that which would be better for you instead of wanting your life to be better? What's the difference? For most people, wanting a better life equates with name, fame, power, position, money, relationships, health, and so forth. Fine. Okay. But the thing is, wanting our life to be better without bettering ourselves is impossible. That's the flaw. We want our life to be better, but we don't want to be better ourselves. We don't want to aim for what would be better for us. Clinging to bad habits. Yeah, big distinction. I know so many people in this category. They want a great life, but they keep engaging in wrongdoing, which doesn't allow for a better life. Not seeing that only when they become better can their life be better. They can't see that. And then there are those I know, friends, family, students, who desire what would be better for them. And that's always the better choice. And what would always be better for them would be to honor life's directives, what God wants from us, not what our little ego wants. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's the prayer. Thy will be done, not my ego's will be done. Yeah, what would be better for you? We take a look. Stay tuned. It's coming up. When Jesus said, yes, we read the Bible again. It's a Buddhist class, but it's all one. When Jesus said that we do not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God, what did he mean by that? We do not live by bread alone. Matthew 4:4. Check it out. Well, here's what he meant. That even under conditions of extreme privation, yeah, difficulties, privation, even under such extreme conditions, life has far more to offer us than material prosperity. Far more. After all, what good is material opulence, affluence, in the midst of moral and spiritual desolation, bankruptcy? Yeah? When such opulence is the poorest and the most miserable form of prosperity there is, being worldly successful, but morally and spiritually bankrupt. Look around you. Look at these people. Are they happy? They may have the nice house, name, fame, power, position, but for how long in this brief time on the planet? What happens next when they pop? Where are they going? Lifetimes upon lifetimes of misery coming up. They don't understand. No can see, blind to karma and a rebirth, blind. Whatever we place our attention upon repeatedly, we not only see, but we also become. And the rest of reality remains totally hidden from us. Wanting our life to be better without loving God in His fullness, in all His expressions, is impossible. It's an impossible dream. No can do. Yeah? So this is the first rule of right practice. I've spoken about this in many classes. See if you can kind of hopefully tattoo in the head. First rule, love God with all your heart, all your mind, strength, and spirit. And watch how beautifully your moments unfold. how magically they unfold. Without this deep relationship with life, we're out of range, totally out of range for its blessings. Place yourself in range. Okay? Hi. Next point. We have to acquire a crystal clear clarity of purpose. What are you here for on the planet? To live like a locust? Gobble, gobble, gobble. Not give anything of value back to the world? Is that the meaning of your existence? Locust mode? In the zombie forest? We need a crystal clear clarity of purpose for our existence on this planet. Brief existence, lifetime after lifetime. Pop, 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 pop. So, if we are fortunate, there comes a time in our life, there comes that special time in our life. If we are fortunate, if we are fit enough, because life is selecting. Yeah? When we are beckoned, summoned by something that is so compelling, so deeply stirring, yeah, that we can't just figure out what it is, but we are called. Difficult to fathom why we are called, but it calls us. Yeah. For each of us, a time in our life comes, if we are fortunate, when we are beckoned by something so compelling and so deeply stirring that it goes beyond our capacity to reason as to what it's about. This mysterious calling is such that we do not choose what captivates us. We don't make the choice. It chooses us. That's called calling. We are called. Yeah? From beyond. Mysterious. Difficult to fathom. In January 1980, when I entered the EST training, in which I discovered my calling, I didn't go looking for that calling. The calling came looking for me. And I couldn't fathom where it's going to take me. And yet it took me to places that were just absolutely magnificent. Yeah? We do not choose our calling. Our calling chooses us. Okay, understand this point. Purpose of our life, to discover our calling. But we can only discover our calling when we create the conditions within ourselves, when life selects our fitness. And then it says, okay, come along, here's where you need to go. If we're not fit, the calling doesn't appear. We are not called. We just live in zombie mode. So when we are brave enough and insightful enough to follow this calling, even though it might be rather scary, as it was for me, really scary in the beginning. Yeah? When we are brave and insightful enough to follow this calling, the wildest things open up for us. Levels of awareness open up. beyond our wildest imagination. We see things which most people just cannot fathom. We hear things. We sense things. We are in the realm of the mystical. I connected in range. It is this higher form of living. It is this higher form of living that forever makes us more than rabbits, squirrels, no rabbits, looking for fleeting pleasures and pastimes. You're not a rabbit. Okay? Dragons. Please understand that life repeats itself. Have you noticed? Days follow the nights, and the seasons follow each other. Yeah? Seasons, days, life into death, into life, into death. Yeah? Rebirth, more precise. Rebirth after rebirth. Life repeats itself. Wake up! And because of this, it is worth getting what repeats endlessly to be in alignment with what is best for us. Yeah? Understand this important point. Life repeats itself. Rebirth after rebirth. It is worth getting that which repeats into alignment with what is best for us. What does that mean? Come on. Think. Do you really want a repetition of the misery you experience day in and day out on the foundation of your faulty habits? Do you want that repetition? The procrastination, the anxiety it leads to, the criticisms, the bitterness, the anger repeats. Do you want that misery to repeat itself? Really? Forget about this life. It's happening in the other ones also if you don't change your imprints. Life is what repeats. Read my lips. It is worth getting what repeats to be in alignment with what is best for us. We need to form the right habits so that they repeat. Habits repeat themselves. And the harvest of wholesome habits, the harvest of pointing the compass in the right direction, is a flourishing, beautiful, enchanting life. Whereas the harvest of having the compass pointing wrong direction, faulty habits, harvest is misery. No two ways about it. Okay, next point. Once we are crystal clear about what really matters, crystal clear what really matters, and we are totally committed to accomplishing it, guess what happens next? Take a wild guess. What happens next is fears, fiascos, doubts, uncertainty, failure, opposition, setbacks, all kinds of difficulties will come galloping our way. Yes, yes. Why does it happen? We're committed to a higher form of living, and yet all these challenges pour into our lives. They magnify. Instead of subsiding, they magnify. Ah. Why? Three reasons. First, it's a purification process. Yeah? We have to let go of all the toxins in our consciousness which gave birth to these difficulties in the first place. The imprints, the wrongdoing that gave birth to these challenges in the first place, either from the actions in this life, mostly from actions in previous lives. We need to purge these toxins. We need to purify. First point. Secondly, life is testing our commitment in this purging process. Are you committed to taking responsibility for your life and your experiences? Or are you still finger pointing? It's his fault. It's this thing's fault. It's that fault. I'm innocent. Life is testing our commitment. Are you taking responsibility and acknowledging the fact that whatever you experience, you have chosen? Nobody else made the choice. You made those choices towards the wrongdoing. If we prove ourselves worthy, that's when those difficulties subside. But it's first testing and purging. The difficulties subside and life becomes effortless and beautiful and enchanting. Okay? But we have to wade through these difficulties. There's no two ways about it. And there's a third reason. There's a reciprocal relationship between, okay, interdependent, reciprocal relationship between the worth of something and the difficulty in achieving it. You got that? There's a reciprocal relationship between the worth of something and the difficulty in achieving it. What does that mean? Imagine the following conversation. Sweetheart, do you love difficulty? Do you enjoy difficulty? No, never. I want ease and comfort. Really? Yes, 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 yes. But tell me, my darling, has anything you have achieved with ease ever been worthwhile? Tell me, from your experience, anything you achieved with ease, has it ever been worthwhile? No. Let us look at these things that you have achieved with ease, but which are not worthwhile. Let's look at that first, then we'll go on to something more. It's easy to criticize and blame others for our misery. Very easy. Point the finger there. Not easy to take responsibility for our life. and to shape up. It's very easy to stay distracted and busy. Very easy. But to make time to purge the toxins from our mind that create our misery, that's not easy. But it's worthwhile. Easy, extremely easy to build and consolidate bad habits. Not very easy to let go of them. And it's also not very easy to build the right habits, but it's worthwhile. So, my darling, what you really desire is difficulty. What you really desire is difficulty in the initial stages till eventually, over time and through diligent practice, things become effortless. But you have to enjoy and embrace difficulty, because whatever comes easy is usually not worthwhile. Nope. There's a reciprocal relationship between the worth of something and the difficulty in achieving it. Please tattoo in consciousness. Okay? There is no other portal to excellence in any field of human endeavor. None. We have to face the difficulty and surmount it till it becomes effortless. Yeah? Tell me, which movie would you go to see? Would you be keen to see? The goody goodies on Christmas Eve? Or the return of the psychos? The crazies with their machetes? Which movie would you go to see? The goody goodies on Christmas Eve? Or the return of the psychos with their machetes? I'd go for the second one. More interesting. Yeah? Which football game would you go to see? Pay big bucks for? The wimps versus the scaredy cats? Or the dragons versus the hell beings? I'd put my money on the hell beings, not the other fellows. I wouldn't go to the wimps. Nah, useless. Dragons versus the hell beings? More interesting. Challenges. Yeah. So what do you understand from this? To meet our purpose in life, which is to wake up. Yeah? To be wise and loving in topmost frequencies. To experience the joy and the fulfillment and the confidence and the clarity. It's not possible without challenges. It is not possible without facing and surmounting challenges. Not possible. Wake up. Stop being afraid of challenges. Without a valuable and valued aspiration to aim towards, we cannot gain access to our tremendous resources. Why? Because if we're not aiming for something that stretches us beyond our present capabilities, valued and valuable aspiration to strive for, which stretches us beyond our present capabilities, we cannot discover our wings. We cannot wake up our genie to soar to the horizon and beyond. No can do. Please understand this rule of life. Let me explain it in some other ways. Suppose you are keen to be good in tennis. Yeah? You're fairly good at the game. Would you really enjoy the game if you were playing with someone who was worse than you? No fun. Would you improve your skills if you were playing with someone who was worse than you? Impossible. No can. But suppose you were a little bit wise and you get yourself a coach so that you can perfect your game. As your skill improves from facing the challenges your coach puts you through, yeah, as your skill improves, would your joy also increase? Yes. Confidence? Yes. Clarity? Where to place the ball? Yes. Fulfillment? Yes. As your skill mounts, so does all these elevated states of mind. All of them come with it. Yeah. There's a reciprocal relationship between the worth of something and the difficulty in achieving it. As our skill set improves in flowing through this life, flowing through this world with power and grace, our joy, confidence, clarity, love, everything expands. But without the skill set, without facing and surmounting challenges, without taking those risks we need to take, we're not getting out of that ditch. No can. Yeah. Your enjoyment increases in the game. Your skill increases in the game. Why? Because you're training. You're not just faffing around by yourself. You're under the supervision of a coach who can bring out your best. That's Sangha. Yeah? Very important rule of life. So, what calls us into life's playing field? What calls us? That mysterious force that calls us into life's playing field is definitely not ease and comfort. Struggle and hardship. Yes, so sorry. What calls us into life's playing field is not ease and comfort. It is struggle and the hardships. Why? Well, I've already said why. But what is this struggle and hardship about? What exactly is it about? Please tell. It's about setting our compass correctly. The coordinates have to be set correctly, which means the letting go of faulty habits, faulty viewpoints, attitudes, tendencies, predispositions that lead to misery, struggle, and hardship. It's not easy. And to consolidate better habits, those that lead to awakening, not easy. Setting the compass correctly, not easy. Unless we shift those imprints in our mind that are causing us misery, we cannot change our trajectory for the better. Yeah? What life calls us towards is not ease and comfort. Ease and comfort come later on. As we perfect our skill set, that's the ease and comfort we want. not the ease and comfort of a deluded mind. Yeah? Okay. The good news here is that when we place ourselves firmly on the path of maximum virtue, which means totally committed to personal refinement, that's when those struggles and those hardships start to dissolve into life's blessings. Profound blessings. Because it is by going through those difficulties that our moments begin to line up for us. And our life acquires the depth and meaning we never knew before. Before, rudderless. No rudder. Broken. Compass pointing the wrong direction. Rudder broken, floating in the ocean. Sharks coming. You clear what I just said? No? Okay, let me repeat it. Remember how in many classes I have said that the difficulties that come our way have to be perceived in the right light. Why? Because when we perceive difficulties in the right light, they reveal the blessings they hold for us. If we don't perceive difficulties in the right light, they become a curse, not a blessing. The difficulty in perfecting our tennis game dissolves into a blessing, doesn't it? As we perfect the game, that difficulty melts away and we find joy in playing a brilliant game. Similarly, when we place ourselves on that ancient path, ancient timeless path of maximum virtue, totally committed to perfecting ourselves, then those struggles and those hardships, they dissolve. They dissolve miraculously to reveal the blessings from beyond that these difficulties hold for us. And our life then, our moments line up to reveal depth and meaning we never knew before. There's more to life than bread. Man does not live by bread alone. He also needs butter and cheese. Yeah? Okay. Wisdom then, the purpose of our existence is to be as wise as the good Lord in heaven, as loving, as compassionate, as brilliant as the wise God in heaven. Yeah? Wisdom then consists not of the knowledge we already possess. No, it's not useless. No, it's flawed. Wisdom consists of the constant curiosity and drive. Constant. No letting go. No letting up. Curiosity and drive, or even greater knowing of the experiential kind, not intellectual kind, experiential and transformative kind, because that's the highest wisdom there is, and the only portal or gateway to awakening. That's what we're after. Second point, be crystal clear about your purpose for being alive. You're not here in the human form to live like a locust, doing your best to consume your way to heaven. Not possible. It's an equation for misery. Yeah. When we are morally and spiritually bankrupt, it is an equation for misery. You're here on this planet in human form to wake up. That's your purpose of being alive. But the only way you will wake up, only way, only portal, is through that curiosity and drive for even greater understanding of reality, and to be willing to face whatever hardships you have to go through to discover your wings. Otherwise, you remain in the ditch. Rebirth after rebirth after rebirth, suffering. You don't want that. Life repeats itself. It is worth getting what repeats, to be in alignment with what is best for us. Right? Okay, second point. Wisdom. We're here to be wise and loving. But you have to hear that call. You have to qualify to hear that call. Otherwise, we remain in zombie mode. Lifetime after lifetime. Let's go on to point number 3. Point number 3 is very similar to point number 2. Very similar, interdependent. We need to see the immense value of heat and pressure. Yes, heat and pressure. Many of us believe that diamonds emerge from coal. Yeah. That's what you hear in seminars and workshops in corporate houses. You are a diamond, but first you were a coal. Now you become a diamond. Bullshit. Both share the same heat and pressure, no doubt. But coal is plant-based. Diamonds are not. They're two separate realities. Yeah? Coal, diamonds, heat and pressure in Earth's surface, beneath the Earth's surface. Yeah? Hi. Diamonds are maximally durable, which makes them the hardest substance on the planet. Tough. They're also capable of reflecting light. Yeah? It is this dual combination, this spectacular dual combination of durability and glitter, which makes them so valuable worldwide. Diamonds. Similarly, those who are valued in this world, those special beings who are valued in this world by the masses for centuries or even millennia, yeah, Christ, the Buddha, saints, you name it. Those who are valued by the masses in this world for centuries or even millennia have attained their purity through the heat and the pressure of challenges. Yep. They've attained that power, that purity, through the heat and pressure of challenges, which aligned them with the tremendous resources they were gifted with to bring out what was finest in them. The radiance. Such people exude radiance. It is the hallmark of a heightened and purified consciousness that can only come through the facing and the surmounting of challenges. Such resilience and clarity, like that of a diamond, resilience, durability, yeah, is not easy to attain. Why? Why? Only the few make their mark on the planet. The rest live and die, and nobody cares if they even existed. Nobody even knows their names. Nobody even cares. There are those few who are remembered centuries and millennia. Models of human possibility for us to emulate. So, such resilience, such clarity is very difficult to attain. Why is that? It's not easy. Why? It is because of our staunch resistance and refusal to let go of all the imprints that have caused us misery and grief for lifetimes, and yet we cling to them, those bad habits, faulty ways of thinking, behavior, is not willing to let go. That's why it's not easy. When life calls you, that's when the fun begins. The struggle and hardship of letting go. The severe limitations of our narrow and misguided perceptions. The severe limitations of our narrow and misguided perceptions become apparent when something we value and depend upon in our oversimplified worldview breaks down. Marriage, health, we lose someone we love dearly, laid off from work. The severe limitations of our narrow and misguided perceptions become extremely apparent when something we value and depend upon in our oversimplified worldview breaks down. Our health, our relationships, the loss of someone we love dearly, being laid off from work, whatever it is, it breaks down. And that's when the significantly complex world, which was always there, but conveniently ignored and therefore invisible, makes its presence known to us. Yes, reveals itself. It is then that the walled garden, our safety net, walled garden that we inhabit, reveals its hidden but ever-present serpents. Yeah, scary. That's when the walled garden we inhabit reveals its hidden but ever-present serpents. Poisonous, venomous serpents. What are these serpents? What destroys us? When things break down, what destroys us is our helplessness, feeling helpless. And when we are feeling helpless, we are terrified. Destroys us, serpents. And why are we feeling helpless and terrified? Because these serpents live right under the thin veneer of our imagined safety. The pseudo security we rely upon, name, fame, power, position, the pseudo security, that imagined safety, which makes us deny the need for personal refinement. And because there is no personal refinement, we have no skill set to face and surmount these huge challenges that come our way. Divorce, terminal illnesses, major illnesses, betrayals, being laid off from work, financial disasters. We have no skill set. When in our oversimplified world, these things that we depended upon break down, we're lost. The serpents are right there beneath that thin veneer of our imagined safety. Our money doesn't help us during a divorce, doesn't really help us when we're facing this life-threatening illness, doesn't help us with what can it do for us? Mind haywire. So please understand, it is in life's playing field. Yeah? It is in life's playing field, not in fantasy land, not in this walled garden, imagined safety of our comfort zones, that the vast possibilities for achieving all we could be, all we could do, have, or experience can be actualized, can be given birth to. Life's playing field, not in fantasy land, not in our comfort zone. That the vast possibilities for achieving whatever we could possibly be, have, do, or experience can be given birth to by us. Yeah? Because it is in this mystical realm, life's playing field, mystical realm, that unrealized possibilities reside. Unrealized possibilities. And in those unrealized possibilities are our deepest desires and our salvation for total freedom from suffering. It's in there, in life's playing field, not in imagined safety. Wake up. Yeah. Sadly, it is only the few on the planet who are brave and insightful enough to venture into this playing field. Struggle and hardships, and to bring back from this realm, this mystical realm, unsurpassed treasures to bless the world with. Only the few. The majority are in locust mode. Lifetime after lifetime of misery, compass set towards suffering. In the years of practice that I've been through, before I started teaching, I came upon incredible human beings in the mountains, in the monasteries where I trained. Fascinating people with fascinating stories. All these people had been through such difficult hardships, and I was always so deeply inspired by them. The hardships they were willing to endure and that they had endured. My hardships were nothing compared to theirs many times. Yeah? So why is it that countless spiritual aspirants worldwide, yeah, have persisted and continue to persist in their quest for awakening through insuperable obstacles and gigantic hardships? Why? Why are they so determined? Why don't they give up? Why don't they try something different? It is because the endeavor, the effort, the endeavor towards being spiritually awake is the greatest and most rewarding form of living there is in all 6 realms of existence that I've spoken of. All 6 realms. This struggle, this hardship towards awakening, as we plow through each struggle and hardship, it opens into blessing, blessing, blessing. That's what happens. The rewards are outstanding. Nothing in the world compares to it. That's why they persist. Because they have the wisdom to know it is the greatest and most rewarding form of living on the planet. Easy life is no life. Easy in terms of being deluded. Easy to criticize, easy to complain, easy to make bad habits, but that's not the easy we want. We want the effortless being, the effortless flow that comes from being in alignment with what is best for us. That's the ease we want, not the other kind. That's destructive. Shallow thinking is easy. Deep thinking, not so easy, but we have to think deep to wake up. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please, 3 things. We need to love God totally, with every cell of our being. Remember Him. Remember these forces, because we become that. Heightened, purified consciousness that puts us on par with divinity, capable of achieving miracles. Don't you want that? Life repeats itself. It's worth getting what repeats into alignment with what is best for us. That's the purpose of our life. Yeah? What, why, how? How? Heat and pressure. Bring out that purity, that radiance, that durability. Nothing disturbs our equilibrium. Yeah? We found our power. And our power is in our connection with our divine heritage. Wake up to the horizon and beyond. Set the compass correctly, and you have nothing to worry about. If the compass is set incorrectly, I hear those hounds coming. Run! Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for the next series of classes coming up after November 2nd. Stay tuned. Hey.